Hello, welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole podcast with me, your host, Matty T. And as always, I'm joined by Alan McKenzie.
Hello.
As Young, how are we?
Doing good. Back at it.
Thank you.
You've been up to much recently?
No, I've been working away.
Not been able to enjoy this lovely weather we've been having this festive period. Or festive-ish.
Been dreading it actually.
Really?
Working a kitchen.
Oh, aye. Be absolutely boiling. What about you?
I've been enjoying this on myself. I've already got my burn line going on my arms.
Yeah, looking like Mr. Krabs there.
Yeah, it's just a tradition at this point.
So the way it goes for Scottish people though.
I know.
Pasty white or lobster.
Well, I get quite a good tan.
Oh, lucky you.
I know.
Yeah.
The last episode was quite recently actually. We'd done political assassinations. Usually there's a bit of a distance between our episodes, but no, this time we're trying to get some momentum going.
Our research time is we'll wrap up this time.
Yep. And last time political assassinations. This time we're doing missing people, like disappearances. And we're going to look at 3 cases, one of which is probably the most, I would say, famous missing persons case. Certainly in certainly in recent memory. The other two, not so well known, but certainly very
weird
strange.
Scenarios, yeah.
So the first one we're going to look at today is the disappearance of a man called Lars Mittank. He was a German man, born February 19th, 1986. And basically the kind of background to this was him and his friends went on a holiday to Bulgaria, to the seaside resort of Golden Sands. And on July 6th, basically, he got in a fight with 4 other men due to a disagreement over football.
It's football hooligan.
Football hooligan, yeah. My guess would be Bayern Munich, Dortmund, but who knows. That's me just put my theory out there. But no, basically, they got into this football fight. No, actually, on my notes here, it's actually Werder Bremen and Bayern Munich, so it's half right. And they had the differences with football, as we all do, but this got violent. And Mittank suffered from a ruptured eardrum.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, because of that, he couldn't get the flight home with his pals because the doctor says, due to this burst eardrum, and if you go flying, it would seriously...
The pressure of the air.
Yeah.
Or in the air would cause him severe pain.
Yeah. So he waited until to get another flight, basically.
Yeah. Did he stay for just an extra day?
I think it was just an extra
the
day.
day after he flew out.
Yeah, always meant to fly out.
Yeah.
His friends said he looked fine. He said, "Listen, I'll catch you back in Germany, whatever. I'm just going on doctor's advice. I'm going to fly tomorrow." So his pals went off and he stayed. And now this is where it gets kind of odd. So basically, a day after his friends left, I mean, it would be quite daunting anyway, being in a different country yourself after being with all your pals. You didn't expect this. It would be quite daunting.
It would be, yeah.
But he started to begin oddly, and his behaviours were kind of
erratic.
Yeah, erratic,
paranoid.
I'm paranoid, and these were caught on security cameras. But apparently he was really paranoid and frightened, and actually sent a text message to his mum, which basically stated that he didn't feel safe and that she should cancel basically
all his credit cards.
Yeah. And that he was hiding from 4 men who were supposedly following him, and asked him where some pills were. So basically these men followed him around, asking where pills were.
I think he also said it was the 4 men, it was the people he had the fight with.
Yeah.
In the football.
Yeah, so
feud.
They're involved in that football feud. So yeah, but after that he was last seen in Varna airport in Bulgaria, and he was captured basically. He went into this kind of room, I think he was to see the doctor again, just to double check, and then another man walked in, and he's like, no, I don't want to die. Got really panicked, and he ran out the airport, jumped over a barbed wire fence and into the woods nearby the airport, and has never been seen again.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that?
It is a really strange, but it starts out like any other lad's holiday.
Yep.
And then it has a total curveball at the end, and as far as I know, he didn't have any other like record history of like paranoia, schizophrenia, or anything like that. So
any mental illness?
None at all. He seemed fit and healthy from his doctor, apart from the ruptured eardrum. So it is a strange one. I think a lot of the theories online say that it might be drug related. because he was given
So basically, he was given an antibiotic
antibiotics.
called, I'll probably absolutely butcher this, cefoxamine.
I think that's just a like any typical
Yeah, it's just a
antibiotics.
standard biotic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's basically used to treat just, bacterial infections like pneumonia, meningitis, sepsis, urinary infections, Lyme disease. It just basically kind of covers.
it's not like
Other stuff.
hallucinogenic drugs.
No, it's not like it's
that.
not
It's a-
LSD or it's not
I have heard though that like side effects to antibiotics are really small, but some of them do cause kind of like altercations of vision.
they
So maybe he was just on that really rare
yeah. That,
incident where that triggered. But I don't know.
That
if
wasn't
that's
I don't
one
think
of
it would
the
do it to that
side
extent.
effects
Yeah.
listed with it though.
what was that?
That wasn't one of the side effects listed
No.
with it.
No, it's not.
No.
It was nausea and diarrhea and
It might be a different type of antibiotic I'm thinking of, but I know
Yeah.
one of them is that can cause mild hallucinations, but this is obviously a very extreme case.
Yeah. But even so, I think I just can't see that happening at all. Like we say, like we touched on this specific one. You say diarrhea, things like that, nausea, nothing, to make you go.
He also left his stuff behind in the airport.
Yeah. So
Like,
basically,
he's
he literally
found-
just got up and left.
Yeah, he left
everything.
his credit card, left his passport and his bag.
Yeah.
Just basically just ran off with
he
nothing.
seems quite frantic as well in the CCTV
yeah.
footage of him leaving the
Yeah, it was
airport.
Panicked. Yeah.
Yeah, and because when he walked in, he was fine. He just looked like any other passenger
Yeah.
like, going in. But then the minute, like, what was that weird disconnect when he
It
went
was
to the
three
bathroom?
quarters of an hour in between as well. It wasn't a short period of
Oh, was it
time that
not?
he was
Right,
there.
okay, it was an hour.
Yeah. So he was there for a while. Obviously, speaking with the doctor and that, just getting checks done, make sure he was fit to fly. Then this man walked in, and that's when they kind of.
Well, no, that was in the doctor's office that someone, like an assistant or, someone at the front desk walked in to say something to the doctor and he got quite frantic and said,
Yeah.
I don't want to die, this isn't how I
Yeah.
want to die, and then he left the doctor's office after that.
Do you think the doctor
Yeah.
said something? They just took it a bit out of proportion, maybe.
Well, it was reported by the doctor that it was when the assistant walked in that he became frantic and paranoid.
He didn't say, I don't want to die like this, whatever. For some reason, that set him off, and he ran away. But also, a lot of theories, I think the main kind of theories I would say is like revolves around his head injury, not the actual drugs. It's to do with the injury itself.
It could be.
I mean, because obviously we know the brain, the head's a very sensitive thing. One wee knock sometimes can
It might have been.
do massive damage.
But surely the doctor would have picked up on that, because it's more to like. Just
Maybe
an
they
ear-
never got to that point. They were just checking, and
Yeah.
then they found the ruptured eardrum before.
before they even checked his brain or anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably in terms of his schizophrenia or whatever, his paranoia. Maybe that stemmed from that. But then again, you say the doctors would have picked up on that. So my guess is there was a reasoning. He must have been
Yeah,
paranoid.
no one just like up and leaves their whole life
Yeah.
on a different country for no reason. And
Yeah.
he's not been reported since. There's been no hearing.
There's
of
been
him,
no
as far as I know.
nothing,
And
no
he-
contact.
What year was he witness in 2014?
I was on 2014. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what I'll be 5 years this summer.
5 years this summer. So
To
something.
not have a trace. I mean, Bulgaria is what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like it's a dodgy country by any means. I mean, it has, obviously it's Eastern Europe, so but even regardless, you'd think there'd be some sort of trace of him.
Yeah, I know it's a hard one to say. And if he was of able-minded, like he didn't have any disorders or anything like that, or
Yeah.
anything. If he was to leave it like that, he must have done it for a specific reason.
Yeah.
And to go mention about when he had that fight with the football and the hooligans, and they said the four men followed him.
Yeah.
Do you think it might have been those guys then?
See, I think maybe another part of it is the football fans were involved in drug smuggling,
Yeah.
and there was, illegal drugs involved.
But to rebuke that, possibly he suffered from PTSD from that event, and
Possibly.
those faces were somewhat imprinted
Yeah.
onto his brain, so he would have those characters at the centre of any sort of disruption to his
Yeah.
life.
It's like when you have a traumatic event and something kind of triggers it.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, do you mean?
Yeah.
Like it's having a callback?
Well, not so much it triggers it, but more that he remembers those faces from that traumatic event. So whilst he's in that state of paranoia, those faces are coming to
Yeah,
him.
I get where you're coming from. He just links that paranoid to those faces.
Yeah.
Could be. Another theory about the drug smuggling is that his friends were involved.
Yeah, and
they were transporting the drugs back to Germany, and they left him behind for insurance purposes. Maybe he got caught.
Yeah,
and they all had to go.
That's
one
or
of the theories.
like you said, insurance. They kept him there, and if they didn't deliver at the other end in Germany, he was to be.
Yeah, like
killed.
Maybe that's why he got the news in the bathroom or something like that.
But judging by him as a person, like from what we know of him, it doesn't seem like he
there's a lot of innocent looking people out there who do turn out to be involved in some shady stuff. You never know about these
things. Surely, like you would be some sort of connection. I don't think he had any kind of criminal history or anything like that. Surely be some sort of indication, but no, he just seems like a normal, 28-year-old German. I think the drug smuggling's probably the most likely, but even still, I think. I mean, I don't know what happened.
If I had to go for my best guess, it probably just seems like a psychotic episode.
Probably.
It could happen to anyone. Even the most sane people do, unfortunately, just get on the wrong, like in that small statistic of just pure chance that just something wrong happened.
Let's just say for talking sake that he has one psychotic episode, right? But then why has he not been seen since?
I know. That's what kind of throws him off as well, because nothing's heard from him at all.
Well, maybe some harm came to him when he disappeared into the woods. Maybe he sustained a leg injury hopping over the barbed wire fence.
There'd be a body found or some sort of evidence. I mean, there's literally he pops on a fence, he just goes in oblivion. It's like he's never just
That's the end of him.
Yeah. You'd think there'd be some sort of, if he did have an injury, be some sort of blood trace or something to indicate he was injured, or maybe there's another theory was like human trafficking.
It could be that too.
So basically, maybe he's had a psychotic episode, and these people who had a fight were involved in human trafficking.
It might be, yeah.
Or maybe another theory I'm just thinking of just now is when he did. Maybe those people didn't have. Maybe the story we know so far is absolutely true. Like, it was just a football hooligans fight. His friends just went home as normal. But then when he jumped that fence, he then came into contact with human traffickers just by pure chance, and they've seen this opportunity to get him involved.
And we don't like to think this happens, but it does happen.
Yeah, I mean,
they go for tourists, especially like dodgy parts of like the world and that. But not even just dodgy parts, even just in first world it happens. But it's obviously not as frequent.
Yeah, I mean,
it might be drug smuggling because it does happen. They usually again go for tourists because they're obviously going back to where they're trying to get their intended narcotics
a lot of times people. I think basically a lot of these drug smugglers, they do it onto unknown people, so they just like somehow sneakily get them into you somehow without you being aware they're even there, and then on the other end someone will take them off you again.
Do you might think, if going by that theory there, do you might think he did discover it at the airport and he got in such a panic, he was like, oh no, what if the police find me with this? Even though
that's a very...
But why wouldn't you just flush it at that point rather than run away, leave all your belongings?
It still may be on CCTV, but there was no CCTV in the actual bathroom though? They would have shown that. So I don't really know that. If it's going by that kind of theory there, that seems like the logical one. You got in such a panic, he bailed because he didn't want to be associated with it. He just discovered the drugs and he's been planted with it. But then again, eventually,
why would he leave all his possessions though, with no route home? Because he left his passport of all things.
Because this seems to be the recurring problem of all of these. That the fact he just left everything behind to go wherever he went is really a strange one, and none of us are going to know for sure until something turns up.
Until a body turns up, or he turns up.
He turns up.
I
think it most likely is the case he's dead.
Yeah.
Well, cases of this sort of time frame, they usually are.
I think the most important times the first 48 hours. Yeah, that's what they always stress, and it's 5 years, so.
I know, and it's practically cold at this point. And obviously, detectives aren't prepared for cases like this because they happen so infrequently. Yeah. So it's even harder for police to get prepared. Obviously, police are more prepared for like petty crimes, theft, and like drug dealings and that. This is so rare. I mean, I think the most likely thing is I think he's still in Bulgaria somewhere. Like, if it was human traffickers, he's probably out the country. But if it's not that, I think he is still in Bulgaria because he can't use his passport. He can't get out of the country. So he's. I know Bulgaria might have a lot of land borders, but still, you find it very hard to get past those borders without. Oh yeah, because getting caught. Security is much tighter now. So. Yeah, so I think he's still in Bulgaria, dead or alive. What do you think, Al? Do you think he's dead or alive? Do you think he's still out there?
Oh, most likely he's
I think
dead.
He's dead,
just for the fact of how long it's been without any sort of anything tying back to him. Like the most sort of, the most recent evidence we found was from 2014 when he disappeared. There's been nothing like Matt said, it's a cold case.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the facts, and then sometimes these cases you might find something down the line, but it's been nothing. That's if we've discussed, that's if we know.
Yeah.
But I think we'll move on to the next case, which is a young 18-year-old man by the name of Zeb Quinn. Now, Ali, you're the one that brought our attention to this.
For a change.
For a change, it's usually me or Azo. I'll let you take lead in this one. Give us the history of what
Okay.
Quick overview.
Zeb Quinn was an 18-year-old in North Carolina. He worked at Walmart. He was last seen leaving with a colleague, one of his few friends, as he had mental disabilities that I'm not sure what they were, that made it difficult for him
sociable.
to interact with people. Yeah, so he left with one of his few friends. That was the last person he was seen with. They went out to a dealership somewhere in North Carolina to look at some new cars for him, and on the way he got a page. He signalled to his friend, who were driving in separate cars, that he needed to pull over and use a payphone to respond to this page. And as you can tell by the fact that I'm saying page, it was the early 2000s, actually at the turn of the millennium.
January 2nd.
Yeah. And basically, he went, answered this page, responded to them, and then indicated to his friend that he had to leave urgently, backed into his friend's car and drove off into the distance, and was effectively never seen again.
Yeah, so that's the basic overview of it. But there's a lot to this.
This is the normal part.
Yeah, it gets really, really weird once you look at the intricate details of it.
Yeah.
So, as we kind of discussed, last time he was seen was on the 2nd of January 2000. And that was by his friend called Robert. They went to this town called Leicester, not Leicester UK, but Leicester, North Carolina, and like we said, he signalled to his pal that he needs to pull over to use a payphone. So they pulled over, and the page apparently was from his aunt, who then she later denies
ever sending
the page, and it was strange for her to send that page in the first place because they weren't really that close. And she actually said that she was out, she had an alibi, she was out, she was having lunch with her friend or whatever, and she also said that her house
had been broken
into, and stuff had been
nothing
moved.
had been stolen.
Nothing had been stolen. It had been broken into, but
it
they'd rearranged everything.
Burglary. Yeah, they'd rearranged some items, which makes you think, did they actually send the page these intruders?
Yeah.
But the burglar just saw that. Oh, this needs to be sorted. This
that
place is a fucking mess.
That couch needs to be there. Which is a possibility, but
it's the really OC.
Yeah. So basically, that happened. Obviously, he's been reported kind of missing. I think it was the next day, someone called Walmart where he worked, saying it was Zeb.
Yeah, claiming to be Zeb.
Yeah, so I would just kind of missed. I've just jumped ahead. I've missed the actual time he disappeared. So, obviously got this page from his aunt. We discussed his aunt. Then, he was frantic. He was, in a frantic state after getting this page from his supposed aunt, and he says he needs to get going. To his pal Robert, hits the car, he was backing away, and hits his pal Robert's car, drives away, and that's the last time we've seen. So we kind of missed that there. But yeah, the next day, basically, this Zeb apparently calls into Walmart where he worked, and luckily who answered the sick line call was his manager Patty. And she basically immediately realised this isn't Zeb because she knew his voice.
She started asking him sort of questions he would only know the answers to, like what time was your shift, when were you meant to finish, etc, etc, and the person on the other end of the phone couldn't give answers that met up with what she knew. Yeah,
so she's like, this isn't Zeb. So I think she got in contact with the police, and it was later turned out basically they tracked call was from basically his pal Robert.
It was from a Volvo plant that he was known to work at.
Yeah, so basically Robert worked in Walmart and this Volvo plant, so he had 2 jobs. And it turned out this call was traced to that Volvo plant, and Robert put his hands up and said, yeah, it was me. Zeb actually asked me to do
Phone
it for him
on his behalf.
on his behalf, and that kind of a wee bit strange, but they're thinking, listen, right, okay.
But the other thing, I think a detail we've missed out is that Robert, that night that Zeb disappeared, turned himself into hospital after sustaining injuries in a car crash.
Yep, so...
A car crash that was separate from Zeb backing into him, which wasn't really a car crash, it was more a minor bumper bump, basically. But he had sustained injuries. I forget how severe they were.
Yeah, again, cracked ribs.
Yeah. but this car crash that happened, there's no evidence of it happening. There wasn't any damage to his car.
No insurance claim.
Nothing.
But that was for both the crashes. Well, this one, the first one technically was a crash.
But it wasn't a severe crash. It was just a bump.
But that wasn't reported, and neither was this second, obviously more severe apparent crash. Obviously, like you said, went to the hospital, said, "Oh, I got his injuries through a crash," and that, blah blah blah. Then obviously the next day he calls in to Zeb's work, claiming to be Zeb. Then we've obviously discussed that it wasn't actually him. Zeb told him to do it. So then these other people come into play now. Basically, Zeb, like we touched on, didn't really have a lot of friends. The only friend we had was this guy Robert, but he also had a kind of love interest of sorts. Her name was Misty, but the problem was Misty was married, or not married, but was in a relationship with this other guy called Wesley, and they had a child together. He
was apparently quite abusive to Misty as well.
Yeah, so Wesley, this guy Wesley was quite abusive to Misty, and obviously because Zeb had these mental issues, he couldn't quite grasp that they were in a relationship and they had this child, and he kept trying to put it on with her and that. Now we don't actually know how Misty, like obviously Misty,
if the feelings were reciprocated, or whether it was a mutual love interest. If it was a
mutual love or what, or if she gave it back, or if she was just leading him on for whatever reason, or
because he had that kind of mental impediment, he might have just misread signals as well.
But no doubt he liked this Misty person. She didn't return the love, and a few times Zeb's actually texting Misty without.
I didn't mask his caller ID.
Yes, so obviously Wesley wasn't too happy about that, and they never really got on, which is kind of fair enough if someone's trying to fire into your missus. But yeah, that was a bit dodgy. And then later on, basically his car was found. Zeb's car was found. Where was it? It was found just...
It was a barbecue restaurant that was right next to the hospital that both his mother and his sister worked at.
Yep, so which is a bit questionable. If you're thinking your son's missing, you know what his car's like, and it's right outside that hospital, it's a bit strange.
A bit spooky as well.
But the details in which his car was found were even stranger. So basically, it was found still on.
The lights still on as well, so the battery hadn't run out, which happens fairly quickly when you leave it running just on the battery itself.
It must have been just fairly discovered recently.
So the windows were cracked open, and on the kind of front of the car, the window, there was...
that was the back.
Was it the back, sorry? Was it the hood? Yeah, sorry, it was the hood, the back window. So there was, drawn in lipstick, there was big lips and the exclamation mark, and inside the car was a Labrador puppy. Now we don't know how long the puppy had been there, what state it was in,
why there's a puppy in the
first place. But eventually one of the police officers investigating the case adopted the puppy. That's fine. But yeah, it's just a very odd details to find a car in.
Yeah.
I mean, to find it there is on the first...
his car as well.
It was Zeb's car, it was his actual car.
Also, no one related to Zeb ever had a dog.
Yeah.
So it couldn't even be linked to anybody associated with him.
Yeah, so it's just this random dog here.
Yeah.
he said like none of his friends had puppies, and there was no connection to him with dogs at all. So it was very, very strange. So his car was found. Someone witnessed this car being driven. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you take the lead in this one.
Well, the car was the person witnessed the car being driven by a female, and the police interviewed the person that witnessed the car, and they took a sketch composite of what they described the person to look like, and the sketch that came out at the end was similar to his
Misty.
Yeah, love interest basically.
So basically to piece it all together, someone witnessed Zeb's car being. So obviously it's been around the block and people was like, have you seen this man? Like, here's the details, here's his car and all that. And one woman came forward and saying, yeah, I actually seen that car being driven by this woman. And
it was someone that knew Zeb quite well. I forget the scenario. So she knew his car, and then she clocked it, and she'd seen it being driven
by who?
Someone
probably was Misty.
Yeah, well, looked similar at least anyway.
According to the sketch artist.
So it's not been 100% confirmed it was her, it's just highly likely that it was her.
Yeah, judging by the
sketch. The sketch, okay.
It was Misty. Then kind of after that, just there was nothing for several years. The case went cold, and the police eventually had to move on to other cases because there wasn't much going for it. But March 16th, 2015, Robert, I will remember him from earlier, was charged with murder in a completely different case by two people, well technically three. Basically, he murdered this woman called Christy, who was apparently quite well known, a reality TV star, and her husband. And he murdered them, and she was pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
So he killed not only the husband and wife, but this unborn child.
Yeah.
And the reason he knew them is because he was a contractor for them. And so they're thinking, and he admitted to it. Oh, he's like, yeah, I murdered them.
He gave quite convincing details of it as well. He was quite forthcoming with the details too. Yeah,
he was quite forthcoming, saying, yeah, put my hands up, it was me. There was never ever any motive given. He didn't say why he done it, but he just said it was him, which I find a bit odd. But
well, that's the other thing about all of these cases surrounding it. The details to come out from the police are quite sparse.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess strange. But move on here to the end of the case, and we can discuss our theories about it. I mean, it is a lot to it here.
Yeah.
So basically, then, obviously, he was charged with this on March 16th, 2015. Then on March 30th, when they were looking about his house, they found stuff in his garden, which the police kind of assumed related to Zeb, even though it wasn't.
Fabrics of clothing, leather, and metal fragments.
Something
I think
like
it was.
But I don't think the police actually ever confirmed it was Zeb's. They found stuff in his garden.
Like I said, the details aren't quite
specific.
Yeah.
So on April 17th, he was because he never admitted to the Zeb murder. I don't think. He didn't admit to that, but he admitted to obviously that couple. So he was given 59.5 to 74.5h years in jail without the possibility of parole. So he avoided the death sentence because he basically admitted to these heinous murders of this couple and their unborn child. And
he's still missing.
That's it. That's that case. So there's a lot to it.
He was indicted with the murder of Zeb, though, so obviously in the back end the police must have some sort of details to actually go and put the charges to him.
I mean, he's the last person to see Zeb alive because obviously he drove away and that was it.
One of the other sketchy things is he obtained these injuries that couldn't be corroborated with how he said he actually got them.
Yeah, he didn't fill any car accident report, any insurance, which is quite strange. If you're in a major car crash, you're obviously going to do that.
Yeah.
But I just can't go with the fact that these materials that are found in his garden were never actually confirmed to be Zeb's. You just think, oh, I found some materials, yep, you killed Zeb, you know.
But one of the other things that kind of gives credence to that, though, was, I can't remember who it was, but someone related or associated with Robert claimed that at the time of Zeb's disappearance, Robert was seen in his garden digging a new fish pond.
Yeah, that was it. And that's basically what kind of caused the police to dig up and find this stuff. So he's one of the most likely candidates. But I want to have a look at this Misty and Wesley, these characters, because my hypothesis is the sketch artist puts Misty in the car. That's just by the sketch artist. It could be something completely different. But according to this, it was her in the car, and the fact that it had like lips and lipstick and a question mark next to it.
Exclamation.
That's what I meant. Sorry, exclamation mark means to me is like, don't touch. Like it's a warning almost, if you know what I mean. Like
don't kiss her. Don't engage in any sexual activities with her.
Yeah.
So it's like a threat.
Yeah. So.
But what's the dog got to do with it?
I think that's a red herring. I don't know why there's a dog there. I think that's just to kind of.
You're my bitch now.
Possibly, yeah.
But if you're going to do a red herring, I would never use a live creature.
Yeah.
Especially a dog for something like this. That just seems really unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean.
And if it was a threat, what's he meant to get from that? And if it's at least theory of what it is, but.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get that. That's the one that's the one that really throws me off every time.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe because the dog, this puppy, but she's just staying in the street for whatever reason, right? This is stupid, right? But she's obviously setting this up, right? And this dog's just there for some reason. It's barking away, so she's like, shut up, just get in the car. You know what I mean? But that's stupid, but...
Yeah, or maybe she's thinking, well, maybe the police will adopt the puppy and then they'll be thrown off forever.
Yeah, but why get the puppy? I don't understand the puppy. I don't get it.
I would like to see.
I think it's mostly a red herring just to pit the police.
It just seems like a really bizarre red herring.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was, it kind of worked because it's the one that is proper questioning about the whole thing.
But the thing is, like I say, the exclamation mark in the lipstick seems like a warning to me. Like, don't kiss her, don't go near her.
Yeah. I wonder, what did they do with the car? When did they catch they did get the person who drove it? Like, because they...
No, they don't know.
They don't know who drove it.
They don't know who drove it. This witness just described...
It was the witness that... Right, okay.
Witness described the person
driving it.
Okay. And the sketch artist came up with, obviously,
an image that looked similar to Misty.
Yeah.
Do you think it might be a freeway operation with Robert, Misty, and her
but
boyfriend?
The thing was, they didn't have any connection.
They didn't know each other.
At all. So
that's why the police were confused. Like, there's no connections between... The only connection is Zeb, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But between his aunt, like, we've even touched on Auntie yet. Between his auntie, Misty, Wesley, and Robert, there's no connection between all of them. Well, I mean, I think Robert must have knew his auntie because he's pals with him, sorry. But that's about it. We haven't even touched on Auntie yet. Like, the auntie's house was rearranged and a pager was sent from her, apparently. I mean, it's just so many odd things in this case.
Weird circumstances.
I mean, I think the auntie was absolutely telling the truth.
Yeah.
But I really don't get it.
I know. I mean, going from the evidence presented here, I feel like all the evidence just stacks up against Robert.
I think
the last person to see him, he's murdered before. He done the impersonation of Zeb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a way to try to cover his tracks, saying, "Oh no, hi, I'm Zeb, I'm fine."
The false injury as well, which could have been actually sustained in a conflict between him and Zeb when he tried to murder him.
But if he was going to murder him, what would be his motive? Because he was his closest
friend.
The
thing is, he didn't have any motive in that other case.
Yeah, I know. So it could have been, he could have been secretly a psychopath or something.
Psychopath or sociopath.
He probably tried to lure Zeb as a friend and then thought of his plan to get rid of him.
I mean, that is sociopathic behaviour.
That seems the most likely outcome just from the evidence. If something else
and that would maybe explain the dog as well, because he's a psycho. He doesn't have any reasoning, so he just puts his dog in here.
Just went and picked up a puppy and he's like, oh fuck it, I don't need the puppy anymore.
This will show the police who's boss here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a strange case. And what I'd love to know as well is if Robert's saying, no, Zeb asked me to call in for him. So how did he tell you? Oh, he called me. I see the call in. Like, there's obviously, I don't know how phones worked back then, mate. I bet surely they could get a call history or some sort of proof to say, look, no, he called me here.
It depends on what device he called on. Was it a mobile phone? Was it a pay phone?
If it's 2000...
There were mobile phones in 2000, but it might have been a pay phone as well. That could have been easily traced.
Yeah, so... But maybe But the thing is, at the time, if he said that, maybe the police did look into that and confirm why he did contact him. So maybe that's just coincidence that happened.
Yeah.
But I think I don't. Technically,
I think if the police reports were a bit more detailed, we'd be able to give.
I would like to follow this more closely and see if there's because I don't know if it's still ongoing.
Well, he's been charged, so
he has been charged. Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's been found guilty yet for it. He has been indicted for the murder.
He's in jail for that one anyway.
The original ones of the two people he was contracted by.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was the police, he seems like suspect number one.
I mean, you actually seen the picture of him. He does look a bit.
But obviously, someone being creepy looking is not really evidence against them for killing someone. But I don't want to throw away Misty's whole thing as well, because they see him some kind of connection to it as well.
I think they're involved somehow, but like you say, the police, and I'm guessing they're quite adequate police. They couldn't find any connection.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it depends on like how if they were connected, how much were they connected, and what was their direct motive.
Well, the other thing that makes me think it's Robert is they've actually indicted them. There must be something for them to say. They won't just go, right, you're guilty, fuck off,
do you think
to the jail with you.
Do you think the police might be hiding certain evidence, maybe for legal reasons?
Probably. I mean,
because they didn't specify what
materials
were found. Some material, not all of it.
See, when a murder case of places, the police only release evidence that they think is useful in helping the case.
Yeah.
So
they might be concealing some stuff for other reasons. I
think concealing it because you just don't think it's useful.
Well, maybe they'll think the killer will find it and cover their tracks as a result.
Yeah, exactly. So that they're smart about what evidence they release. They have to release evidence that the public could use, but also that the potential murderer or whatever could use as well.
Yeah.
You get that fine balance.
I would like to keep this one on tab and see if any new details come out, and if maybe so might do another episode on it to see if
we know we could do a part 2.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to touch on the jacket that was found in the car as well. Didn't belong to Zeb, so that could have been Robert's jacket or
Misty's boyfriend.
Well, they said they took a load of forensic details on the car, the jacket, everything they found at the scene,
and they didn't find anything of Zeb.
It didn't say anything. That's the other thing. The details don't really give a clear picture of the situation.
Yeah.
Because you've got all the pieces of the jigsaw there. It's just there's no print on them.
It's like getting a jigsaw and like half the pieces are missing. You can get a vague picture, but you're not getting every detail about what's happening.
I think my conclusion. I think my initial instinct was Mr. Wesley, but now we've discussed it and looked into it a bit more. I think Robert probably is the most likely.
Yeah.
There's also a wee note here I had. I apparently didn't actually know his real name. It was either Robert or Jason. And they weren't.
Well, Jason was given his. Robert was given as his actual name, but he was referred to as Jason, much like people have sort of. Yeah,
but then. I think I want to go back to the auntie thing. Like, who came into our house, and was that a totally unrelated incident?
Mm-hmm.
And people are just relating to this because, for obvious reasons. My instinct is that there's someone who came in and moved about stuff in the house. I think that's probably just. I think it's just a coincidence, but I think it's just unrelated.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a total twist, and it was a Labrador that killed Zeb.
Yeah, it's a Labrador.
It was a vicious attack, and they actually found it in the car. That could have been their chance to find the killer. The Labrador go scot-free. He's still out there.
But yeah, we'll definitely keep tabs on this case, so if you want to know what happens next, keep up to date with the podcast.
And if anyone likes to bring any new info to us, we'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, we're on before we move on to the next case, we'll plug ourselves here. We're on Twitter now at rabbit_hole3. Give us a follow, we'll do updates there.
Follow for a follow.
Follow for a follow if you want. So yeah, we'll put updates there. We're on obviously SoundCloud, YouTube, but Twitter. I've got
Spotify yet.
Not Spotify yet. I might look into that or iTunes. But we're on Twitter. I might get a Facebook once we're kind of a bit more well known. You get a Facebook page up and going. But yeah, follow us on Twitter and you'll get the latest updates, and you can also suggest things for us to look at if you want. We'll move on to our third and final case. Like I said at the top of the episode, this is probably the most well-known missing persons case in history, or certainly at least
in Europe.
At least in Europe.
Of our time.
Yeah. Certainly the biggest in the last 50 years anyway. It's it's very relevant just now because of a certain Netflix series. It's obviously Madeline McCann. So there's a lot.
It's not Leaving Neverland.
Oh well, you could say that. Well,
Another rabbit
that's
hole.
that's another rabbit hole that we'll go down one day. But yeah, Madeline McCann. I'm sure everyone who's listening to this is very familiar with the case, or at least knows the basics of it. But we'll run through it quickly. So May 3rd, 2007, Jerry and Kate McCann go on holiday with a bunch of their pals and their children, and obviously Madeline was with them and their two younger brother and sister. And I want to touch on as well before we get into all the theories. I think Jerry and Kate had a lot of issues trying to get a child in the first place. They've been trying for I think a few years, and they done. I don't know if it is their child, but they had to do some sort of medical thing to make it happen.
IVF.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, to make it happen. So just bear that in mind for later on. But yeah, they went on holiday with their pals and their children, and to give you some back history as well. Kate and Jerry, they were kind of upper class, I would say. Kate was a GP and Jerry was a nurse, I believe. So they had some money behind them. Again, keep that in mind for later on. So they went on holiday to the Algarve in Portugal, which is a lovely part of the world. Before this case, it was nothing major had ever happened there. This Praia da Luz, but this resort they're in, had only been built in the last 30-40 years. It was a fairly new place, and so they went there. And they'd been there for a few days. Madeline was, loving it, as with the whole family, as you'd imagine, being on holiday. I think it was the first time they'd been abroad with the children, because she was only 3, the twins were 2, I believe.
2, yeah.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at like a quote in the papers of Madeline McCann. I'm loving it.
But she was loving it. Obviously, she was part of like this. You get the in holiday, you get the
kids clubs
and that. She's part of that. She had made a few friends, and obviously it ended in tragedy. So the night of her disappearance, May 3rd, 2007, the children were in bed and all the adults of the group. I think there was 9 in total. Kate and Jerry and all the other pals. They were at this tapas bar having drinks, having tapas obviously, and they kept the children in the hotel room, which was under 3 minutes.
A few hundred yards away.
It was spitting distance, and they would have this set up where one of them would go check every 20 minutes or so just to check the children, make sure they're okay. At 9 o'clock, Jerry was the last person to see her. So Jerry went in at 9 o'clock. She was fine. She was there sleeping, as were the twins. Then about 20 past 9, it was Kate's turn to go check. So she checked, and the other kids, they were fine. And then she got to her room, and she noticed there was a slight breeze, which kind of shut the door. And she opened it up, saw the twins, sound asleep, but obviously Maddie was gone. So leaving the twins there, she ran out. Obviously hysteric scene. They've taken her. And like they're like panic ensues, like, well, what's happened? And she, Madeline's gone. They've taken her. And then it kind of goes on from there. The police are I'm not going to even. The local police, obviously, start their investigation. I don't know if you know how to pronounce that.
No. Right.
We'll call them the PG. PJ. We'll call them the PJ. So the PJ, which is the local police of the town, obviously open up investigation. This is very, very new for them. They've never had a case like this before. It's a very quiet place, like we said, very safe. Nothing major's happened since that or before that. So details started to come out, obviously after the police opened their investigation, and she went missing. One of the adults of the group had noticed when it was her turn to check, she noticed this man carrying a child towards the beach, and the way this man was carrying the child, it seemed like she was kind of slumped over.
Almost as if she was asleep.
Almost as if she was asleep, yeah. and she didn't really think much of it. But obviously, it means a lot now given the circumstances. And like I kind of touched on it earlier, there was these people going around looking to collect money for an orphanage, but it turns out that orphanage didn't actually exist. There was nothing. So it was obviously some sort of scam. Then people may be thinking it wasn't really a scam. They were looking for children, because one of the witnesses says one of these apparent orphanage collectors came round to their house, and her child was in the background, and they were just concentrating on this child. He wasn't really speaking to the parents, like, so what's this orphanage about? He's like, yeah, but he was concentrated on the child, which is very, very odd.
Alarming.
Yeah. So that's some of the theories, but yeah, we'll kind of dig a bit deeper into it in a minute. But what's your initial instincts?
My initial instinct is, it seems like, I feel like the most logical scenario is she might have woken up.
Yeah.
When the parents were gone, she knows her parents are gone, and in a panic she rushed at the hotel, and unfortunately I think somebody like took advantage of her, saying something like, "Oh, I'll help you find your parents," and then went away with her. That seems like the most logical thing. Now, obviously there's no definite proof for that, but that just seems like the one, apart from conspiracy theories and all that, this seems like the most unfortunate case. And whether she's dead or alive, I don't really know. There have been people who've been missing for 20 odd years and they were found again, so it's definitely in the realm of possibility she might be still alive. Maybe might have been child trafficking or something that severe, or
like I said, those people that were
the orphanage thing. It could be something along those lines.
Because I mean, it's strange that these people collecting for this orphanage, like, it could probably just be a scam, but why specifically an orphanage? Why not just make up some sort of charity? And why was that guy who was collecting for this orphanage was so interested in the child?
Did you say anything about the guy who was like? Did they find the guy who was carrying that?
So that he was never ever
he was never found.
Never identified.
Right. Okay.
But which it is strange as well. This woman, one of the which was one of Kate and Jerry's pals. At first, she didn't really remember much. She just saw this man. She couldn't remember his face or anything. But then, as the years went on, she had more and more detail to it, which I think is a bit suspicious.
You think it might be sketchy, but that's quite a common thing for people to do, is to develop situations in their mind. They start remembering details when really they're just fabricating those details without even realising.
They're just filling in blanks where it's not even needing to be filled.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely thing that's happened to you.
And
if you've even seen a person at all.
And because she's just so desperate to find Madeline, she's just trying her very best to just piece something together. But it could have been just a total coincidence. It could have been just some other guy with his daughter.
And there was another witness. There was I believe they were Irish, or I think it was an Irish couple. I could be wrong. And they're a British couple anyway. Were who they also saw this apparent man. So I think this man did exist, but he later on, after seeing this case and all that, he realised, oh, that man was Jerry McCann. Which
that leads into the big theory.
That would lead into the bigger conspiracy. But yeah, this guy is like, oh yeah, I saw that man as well. And then obviously in the news, he saw Jerry. Oh, it was him. That's who I saw carrying that child. So it matches up with their pals that there was a man carrying someone, but then if she's went to check, surely Jerry would still be back.
That's what I was thinking. Would he still be at the tapas?
He would still be at the tapas. So maybe this guy's just...
It could have been a guy who just looked fairly similar. Depends, like, how... Were they close to the guy, or were they quite a distance?
So basically, when she saw this guy, it was quite dark. So I think she was like maybe 10 feet away from him, and he was crossing the road, so he was...
Yeah, your vision's not going to be at your clearest.
But I think this man probably did exist.
Yeah, I do think he exists, but it's weather dependent. If it
was whether it's just maybe a random guy.
Could be just,
carrying his own child.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But we'll move on. So basically, after all this happened, Kate and Jerry, obviously desperate to find their child, started to get a bit...
It was worldwide news coverage.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just in Britain. It was everywhere, America and Australia, and everywhere really looking for her.
And that's why I said keep that in mind earlier on. They had money to do this.
Yeah.
Like I said, she was a GP, he was a nurse, I'm sure, and they're pretty well off. They've not got a lack of money, so they were trying to get the best private investigators and all this media coverage, but the criticism being it's not really, it doesn't seem like they're trying to find her. It feels like it's more like a marketing campaign just to make more money. Because I mean, they've wrote so many books. There's been so much press involved, and then people arguing, what about other children who are missing? Why is this one getting so much attention when it's very much a cold case? And that leads to suspicion to the parents that they're just trying to make money off their missing daughter, and people think maybe they are involved.
I mean, it could be a lot of factors why this one's a lot more like nationwide, but obviously money played a part, but see, especially when it comes to younger children, a lot of people are a lot more sympathetic to more vulnerable missing people, like younger people. That tug at the heartstrings of a lot of people, that probably motivated people more to do it. But then that could bring in a lot more dodgy people as well into the situation. Because I mind one guy was suspected. He was a guy who was actually following the investigation when it was still going on early days.
Yeah, so he lived in the area.
He lived
in the area at the time, and he was helping out with the case, and people thought he was a bit too involved.
He was too involved, yeah.
And people were reminiscent of the what was her name's Jessica and Ian Huntley.
I think that rings a bell.
Basically, he killed 2 young girls, and he was actually not caught on camera, but he was doing an interview. And he was saying, "Oh yeah, it's a terrible." He was a school janitor at the time, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's a terrible thing. What's happened? We're going to keep looking." And it turns out it was him. So people were kind of getting reminded of that. Like this guy's quite close to the case, but it turns out he wasn't involved, and there's no evidence. He was just
really active.
Really active, yeah, which is fair enough.
I know. It's unfortunate that that's one of the side effects of a worldwide attention like this.
Yeah.
You can attract the wrong kind of attention as well.
Yeah.
It's like you can get all sorts of.
There's also another guy involved. His basically was this Russian guy who was connected. I can't remember that guy's name.
Was he like a computer programmer?
Programmer. So the original guy we talked about, again I can't remember his name. Hired this Russian computer programmer, and they thought maybe they were involved, but it turns out there's nothing in that either.
Yeah. And as you were saying before, after 2 days, that's when the leading evidence starts to fade away, and it's harder to find even new stuff. And as far as I'm aware, I've not seen any like proper big leads as of yet.
No, but going back to the actual investigation, Kate and Jerry were actually interviewed. They were seen as what is known as an arguido. Basically, that's Portuguese law is obviously different to British law. They were named as an arguido, which is like a suspect. So they were taken in for questioning, but they refused to answer 50 questions. Basically refused to answer every single question, which is very highly suspicious.
Refuse as in like they didn't answer the question properly, or they just flat out
just like flat out no comment.
Right.
Which, if you're obviously trying to find your daughter who's been missing in a foreign country, you'd want to try and answer every question you want.
Yeah.
They could also be taking that as an insult that you're even named in it, and they
decided
they didn't want to participate in it at all because it gave some sort of it breathed life into the fact that they had something to do with it by cooperating with it at all.
Yeah, I think that's what their excuse was, but at the same time, it's just very, very questionable.
Yeah, I'm not denying that.
So they were named arguidos, but then eventually got lifted due to lack of evidence. Then they flew back to the UK, and all this media hysteria kind of picked up.
Yeah, I do think the media does have some blame to play for propagating all the conspiracy theories of like the parents directly involved in this, which I mean, I can understand why people suspect like the situation where they left the kids in did seem a bit weird, but they could have just been so comfortable in the environment they didn't feel the need to be that like looking after their kids as much.
It might sound bad, but I don't really have a problem with them, going out to the restaurant whilst their kids are in bed. It's the bit that gets me is why didn't they lock the doors?
Yeah, that was so there is some suspicious thing, but I don't see
Robert Murat, that was his name.
Murat, right. Yeah, I don't see enough like strong claims that they were personally involved in this, and it would really it'd be really unfortunate if it turned out they weren't involved in it at all. Like say they found Madeline's body or they just found her alive. It would really think about how much that would put on your psyche if you were constantly told that you were the responsible for your daughter's death, even though you had nothing to do with it at all. It really would put you off.
It would, but I think a lot of people are accusing it, they didn't really seem too down by it. They didn't seem distraught or anything, and they were seen laughing not long after it. And that.
I mean, people grieve in different ways. It's a bit...
But on top of this, these are medical practitioners. They have a degree of, not callousness, but a way of detaching themselves from traumatic events. You see people die in your hands day in, day out. Yeah. Well, maybe not a GP and nurse. Well, maybe more with a nurse. But you have these traumatic events happening to you daily. Mm-hmm. It's part of your routine. You sort of develop a disconnect with this.
Plus, you don't know what they're like behind closed doors. Maybe they're totally in tears all the time. You just don't see it in cameras. Plus, the whole laughing thing, they might just be reminiscent of good times before all this hysteria happened and all this tragedy and that. I don't want to rule them out as totally innocent, but I feel like far too much blame has been put on it, and it's actually pivoting from the actual case. Yeah. Where they could be going to other leads, you know.
I mean, it's getting to the point where it's becoming a meme almost.
It is, literally, yeah.
But a lot of people say, majority, I think it's about 75% of missing people cases or murder cases, it's usually someone that they know.
Yeah. But she could be in that 25% that just happened to be by pure bad luck.
Well, because like we talked about with the first case, human traffickers and they tend to target tourists.
And more vulnerable people, i.e. younger people, which is unfortunately think of, but it does happen.
Obviously, Madeline was seen as a very pretty child, and they're thinking, oh, she's very pretty, she could be used in these disgusting, terrible ways.
Yeah.
I might look at some of obviously the conspiracy theories now. We'll get our tinfoil hats out. So basically, one of the theories is. Now, what you're going to use my Easter egg as your tinfoil hat?
Yes, I'm sorry if I've ruined your Easter egg.
The tinfoil Easter special.
And smacked the microphone with it in the process of putting it back.
That won't be fun to listen to back. But one of the theories is basically that the parents sedated the children to help them sleep, and they've accidentally overdosed Madeline and panicked, and she's died, and they've panicked, and they've somehow got rid of her body without anyone noticing. And this also, people also think this as well because the two twins were, when this all this chaos was going off, people were coming in and out the room screaming, saying, oh, where's Madeline, this and that, they were still sound asleep, didn't budge, and I think it was Kate that kept checking their breathing, which is a strange thing to do, which suggests maybe that she's checking for her breathing because of this sedation, whatever drug they've used, and she's obviously panicking that it's happened to Madeline, will it happen to them?
I mean, I see no direct evidence for this. This feels like, like you say, tinfoil stuff here.
But the other thing is, they've got a medical background, which does give credence that they would have access to these drugs. But the other thing is,
they're not stupid.
Yeah, they would know what the dosage is.
Yeah,
the dosage is for it.
And the theory is obviously because they were drinking as well. They maybe didn't have the clearest of mind.
Unless they were totally steaming drunk, I don't see them like.
Which I don't think they were.
Yeah, I don't see them overdosing, especially a child at that age. They would know what they were doing for something like that. If it was something serious, it just feels like it's tossing more flames to get people believing it's the parents.
Yeah,
and even if it was like they gave him some sort of drug, it would not. I don't think it'd be anything serious. It'll be something like that.
Maybe like Calpol.
Calpol. That's probably the main thing, and I've yet to see anyone.
A bit of booze in their drink or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the old thing used to get a wee thimble of whiskey in your juice.
Also, the twins could have just been heavy sleepers. They just slept the whole thing,
Possibly, but I'm not blaming the parents like today, but I just still think it's strange that with all this hubbub going on and that the twins, and they're still young children, wouldn't wake up, because young children they wake up quite a lot.
Some do, and some, but then other ones can be just.
I just don't understand why I didn't wake up. Maybe I'm looking into that too much, but with all this hubbub going on and that, and out and chaos, I think they would awake. But I don't know.
You'd be surprised. Speaking on behalf of deep sleepers, it's amazing what you can go through.
I'm a very light sleeper. So
I second that though. I'm a deep sleeper. I've slept through a lot of stuff, like my own alarm right in front of me that screeches, and I still miss it.
I'm so late. I wake up every few hours, but
I've had people claim to step on me whilst I was asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
So the parents could have literally curb stomped the twins. Yeah. Still slept fine.
There's also obviously the trafficking theories that we've kind of touched on.
Yeah.
But then the evidence, like people obviously they paid I can't get this, the PJ as we
Portugal police.
Portugal, the Portuguese police, let's call them that.
Well, there's two divisions to it as well. There's a sort of local police which were involved initially, and then it escalated to sort of like the FBI, if you will.
So you wonder in hindsight if they got the FBI first, they might have had a stronger like.
But the thing is, the FBI don't. They're they go for federal cases. It's a federal
the point that it initially sparks. It's a trivial case. It's a missing child. Yeah. Usually they're just gonna wander, or something like that.
FBI deal with terrorism, and that. Don't miss me.
It's how like if a kid goes missing, they're likely to turn up.
And the FBI have never been involved.
They've never happened, right? Okay.
So, like I said, it's not what they do.
Basically, the entire police department, regardless if it was federal or local, were all out of their depth. Yeah.
They're out of it. So basically, the point I was wanting to make is when they were investigating this, they looked at the window, and either, if I'm correct in saying, it couldn't be opened from the outside, or there's no evidence to show it was open from the outside. So that.
Well, maybe it couldn't be opened from the outside, and it couldn't be opened without brute force from the outside, and there was no proof that it had been forced open.
So if she was taken, she would have to have been taken from. They'd have to come into the room. Then a lot of people were saying, how did no one see that? Because there's a lot of advantage. You could kind of see the room, like I said.
Yes, but from where the people that would be watching that room, that would be recognising that room, is somewhere where people shouldn't be going. Like, not where people should or shouldn't be going, but they know who would and would not be allowed access to that room. They couldn't actually see that room. On top of that, the door was unlocked, so maybe they were in there with Madeline at the time. Someone comes in to check on the kids and they're like, oh fuck, and jump out through the window from the inside. I mean, there's a very, very small window of opportunity to get her. And
and didn't the parents say the last time they checked, the door was slightly open?
Yeah, I mean,
so it could have been possibly came in from the door, just wasn't seen by total chance, took the kid and then left the door as he last saw it, to then rise suspicion.
Yeah, but the thing is, there was no kind of trafficking.
No trafficking. No, was there any fingerprints or anything?
No, there was basically no fingerprints, no nothing, and sniffer dogs.
Couldn't find anything.
The sniffer dogs point that I won't go into too much, but basically the sniffer dogs pointed towards the parents.
Right.
So
that might have just been because they kept going in the room to check.
Yeah, there would be a scent.
But they found like I think it was evidence of blood or something. One of the cars.
And the car.
It was the car. Yeah.
Well, did they say whose blood it was though?
I think it was Madeline's.
Right.
And they also found something else involving Madeline. So there's two different.
But these are like. It's really easily disputed.
No, what it was, there was I think it was a blood dog and a dog that could a cadaver dog, which basically could smell dead bodies basically, and there's apparently traces of a dead body in a car.
Right.
So the theory, basically the reason they were named by widows was the police's theory was that they killed her for whatever reason and then left her in a kind of ice tray box for a few days while this investigation was all going, and then once they got the right opportunity, they put her in this this car that they found this evidence in was hired. It's a hired car, so they put her in this hired car in the boot and dumped her somewhere. And that's what the dogs picked up on, this human, the human dead body scent, whatever, cadaver, in the boot of this rented car.
I mean, that does bring a bit of suspicion if the blood thing is true and the sniffer dog's fine. I mean,
because these dogs are very highly trained and very, very, very rarely wrong. And you know what dog smells like in that. So it does point a bit, again, suspicion to the parents.
It could have been blood from some other situation, though. We don't know for certain if it was because of a dead body.
I mean, no, it was cadaver dogs, so it was trained to.
It was trained to get the scent. Well, according to Matthew, it was trained to latch on to the scent of a dead body, which was found within their car, which also had traces of Madeline's blood in it.
Well, this theory sounds like news to me. I think I remember vaguely hearing about it.
I've never heard about it.
I'll need to look in that one.
I mean, it's in that documentary. I mean, the documentary's not really that great.
Yeah, I couldn't really
but
finish it.
It does tell some of the facts, and the facts where the dogs found some stuff like to the parents.
Did it say any counterpoints to it, or did they just kind of lay that out?
They just kind of laid that out. Basically,
Right.
the dogs aren't there to point it was him or her. It was just to say, listen, that's what the dogs have picked up on.
Okay.
Which again puts suspicion on the parents. But I think the most I think they've she probably has been taken, put into trafficking, or for whatever reason. But like I said, there was no known traffickers in the area. At that time, there's never been any incident.
No other similar incidents.
No other similar incident. So it's very strange that they picked this one specific.
Well, potentially they took her, and then the whole media thing blew up. And
when they'll go back to you then?
This is a hot spot. Like we can't
Possibly.
touch this anymore.
Yeah.
Possibly, but I think
it must be like a PR disaster to work in that hotel now, because it must be tainted.
I think it looks really nice.
It does. That's probably why they went. It must have been a popular family resort.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I mean, there's a lot more to this case, but we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
Now, if you want, we can do a part 2 on it if you want. Maybe one day.
I would like to look into more. Not even just Madam Can't.
Use the sniffer dogs.
Well, there's a saying here that it's
Killer, human blood, and I think they also of a dead body.
I'll need looking at that to see if there's a follow up to it. If we are going to do a part 2, I think we should do it on Zeb as well.
Yeah. So if you wanted to if you want us to do a part 2, let us know on our Twitter. Like I said, rabbit_hole3. Or if you want to do a dedicated video on this, maybe not part of the podcast, we'll just do a video on it. I'll put that on the YouTube channel. But yeah, let us know what you want to do next. Part 2.
Video? We're going into video now?
No, I mean not a video. Like rather than doing the podcast, we'll just do it.
A dedicated
Dedicated
to one subject
Yeah.
rather than to one topic.
rather
One
than-
instance.
Yeah, one instance. So we could do, for example, we could look into Madeline more in depth if you want, and we can go back to Zeb if more evidence comes out of that. Let us know on Twitter what you'd like to do. But actually, there's a lot more to this, but we could be here all night. So anything else you want to add on before we wrap this up?
I think I'm going from my initial claim is she woke up in a panic, didn't see her parents, went out to find them, and just got caught up in a wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, but then surely there would be some sort of evidence of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very.
I'm just talking about by going by the child's logic.
Yeah.
Of what they would do.
I mean, I think
Why would
that.
you climb out the window though?
I'm not talking about window. I'm talking about leaving the door.
Then the windows, there's no evidence. The windows, I don't know.
I don't think the window's got anything to do with it. I think it's just the door she went out of. I didn't think she climbed out the window.
But
that's just me.
Then surely someone would see her.
Again, there's been situations where kids haven't, you just sneak and just don't get caught by anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's likely, or she got taken by traffickers or whatever.
To me, all the other evidence seems flimsy at best, or just downright conspiracy theories at worst.
I mean, I'm slightly suspicious of the parents. I mean, if this one did, like we said, does come out, hasn't got nothing to do with them, of course I'll be sorry for them, but I just feel like they're hiding something. The fact that they refuse to answer those questions, and the sniffer dogs that we touched on, I've got a slight suspicion of them, but I think it's most likely that she's went away of her own accord or been taken.
What about you, Ali? What do you think yours, your strongest theory is?
Honestly, I can't come up with a theory for this one. There's
so much to it.
There's so much to it, but at the same time, there's really nothing to it. That none of it is definitive. None of it directly points at one person, one instance, or another.
And even the best private investigators in the world, the best whatever, couldn't come up with anything really. And I think it doesn't help. Obviously, the people after she was missing, people kept coming out of the room, which probably may have tampered with evidence.
Oh yeah, that's one of the other things that was said about this case, was the way that the local police dealt with it. They weren't very professional about it.
They were quite lazy.
Well, yes. But they corrupted a lot of forensics and other details with the room that made it much harder to pinpoint anything.
Yeah, well, so did the Kate and Jenna, because the fact they kept coming out in the room and that, and they tampered it. Well, obviously not intentionally, but tampered evidence. But I think we'll leave it on that note.
Yeah.
So thanks for digging down the rabbit hole, guys. Next time we'll dig a little deeper. Bye bye.
See you later.
Bye.